Well, joining me now to talk more about just how vulnerable our nation's infrastructure can be and the effort to improve cybersecurity is Dmitry Alperovich. He's the co-founder and executive chairman of the Silverado Policy Accelerator. Thank you, Dmitry, once again for being with us this week. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, so here we were 6 days into this shutdown. We found out tonight that the pipeline is operational again, but the fact that it took us almost a week, does that or should that suggest anything to us about the severity of what was happening behind the scenes?
Well, it shows you how vulnerable we are. The fact that the attackers in this particular case attacked only the business systems, and nevertheless it caused this massive shutdown of over 5,000 miles of pipeline, affecting numerous customers of gas and oil, is really a troublesome development, because they could have gotten to the operational network that actually controls this physical equipment and permanently damaged it, and it would have caused a shutdown that would have lasted for weeks, if not months.
And I know the company said today that it did not pay the ransom that was requested, and generally my understanding is that the U.S. does not ever encourage the paying of ransom in that kind of situation. So when they find out that there are under this kind of ransomware attack, what do companies then do to counteract whatever damage has been done?
Well, in this particular case, they focused on rebuilding their systems to a sufficient enough level that they could restart operations. Of course, the problem is not yet over for Colonial. They're going to have to figure out how the attackers got into that network, how to shore it up against future attacks. So this will continue in terms of a response on their side for many months to come. But at least for now, the operations are back up and running. And it's good that we didn't pay the ransom, because we don't want to encourage these criminals any further.
Do you think that the executive order signed tonight by President Biden will have a substantive impact?
This executive order is truly extraordinary. It's 34 pages long, one of the longest executive orders we've ever had. In fact, if you put together all of the legislation that was proposed on cybersecurity over the last 1 year, it doesn't even come close to the ambition of what this executive order is trying to achieve. And it does a couple things. One, it focuses first and foremost on protecting the federal government, the agencies and the departments within the federal government that are extremely vulnerable, oftentimes even more vulnerable than the private sector, as we've seen in recent hacks. They've targeted the State Department, Department of Justice, and many, many others within the U.S. government. So it's going to raise a standard. But the other thing that it does that is truly incredible is that it enforces much higher levels of standards on the providers, the contractors that the federal government works with, particularly the software contractors. And of course, the federal government buys the same software that all of us do, businesses, individuals, et cetera. So by doing that, they're in fact going to make all of us much more safe, because the standards for security amongst those companies are going to go way up.
And I'm not asking you to weigh into politics here, but as you well know, the country is having a major debate about infrastructure, how to repair it, how to pay for it. Do you think this helps bolster the case that we need to do more as a nation?
Well, certainly when it comes to cybersecurity, there is no question that we need to do more. Colonial is not unique. There are tons of infrastructure around the country, both on pipeline side, energy, utilities, water supplies, that are just as vulnerable, if not more vulnerable, to these types of operations as we have seen over the past months and years. So we absolutely need to invest more. It will require more regulations, frankly, on the part of the government, but also more funding, because some of those organizations, particularly in the public sector, water utilities, and others, they do not have the resources. Their margins are laser thin, and they will need help from the federal government to procure the right technologies.
Such an important issue, and scary what we've been through for the past 6 days, and thinking about what could be next. If they can get into such a massive pipeline, what is to say that air traffic control won't be next, or what power grid, or what water system? It's frightening, the implications here. We've seen this thing happen over and over again. So, Dmitry, thank you for letting us tap into your expertise. We appreciate it.
Thank you.